What's up, guys? So, for the past 5 years, I've been pretty successful when it comes to freelance creative work. And the question I get asked a lot is how do you get clients, especially high quality clients, consistently, right? So, in this video, I'm going to give you my exact strategy that I did so that I could quit my job and then, of course, set me up for the next 5 years of success, right? And trust me when I say that if you were to do this and put this into action, it genuinely will benefit you. And I'd say give it about 6 to 8 months, even 12 months. It took me about 12 months while I was doing my job, but 6 to 8 months consistently, you will be able to quit your job and actually pursue what you actually like to do, right? So, if you don't know who I am, my name's Josh. Um, this is a photo of me when I worked at the bar. I worked at the bar serving drinks, and then this is me. As soon as I quit my job, I was able to partner up with a bunch of guys, and we were able to. One of them already had a production company, so we all just partnered underneath the same production company. And this is the first room we got. This is the little office space we got. As you can see, it's pretty packed. But these were some of the best times ever. Like just grinding nonstop. Um, and this it was yeah, some of the best times ever. And then this was a photo of us at the start of the year, um, on a yacht after a music video shoot, and was thriving, and it's good. We're doing very very well. And then at the start of the year, I was also able to buy myself an AMG, which is awesome as well. So on social media, I've done pretty well for myself, especially as a creative. I've made my whole career. I've made off of just this, um, just like 3,000 followers. Well, over time it's grown, but around 3,000 followers was like just where I was just making some good amount of money and just consistent work. And then recently I was able to take it from 3,300 to almost 21,000. And that was within 30 days. So that was awesome. And that gained me about 10 like 10 clients. At the end of the day, those 10 clients compared to, you know, the hundreds, oh, actually, probably like just over 100 clients I got from here, high quality clients compared to this, it's actually not much different. Like I've definitely learned that you don't need more followers to make more money. And as you can see as well, I gained like 11 million in like 30 days as well. So 11 million views, that is. So I feel like I've learned a lot, and I have some pretty strong things backing it. And I really want to just explain that to you guys and show you guys so that you guys could also quit your job and potentially even start your own, production company or whatever you're doing. Turn your freelancing into a business and go further from that, right? Um, but yeah, so this video is great for like beginners, people who are just curious about quitting their job and really want to take it seriously. And I guarantee that if you applied this strategy, you would actually be able to, of course, quit your job and succeed in the area that you choose, right? So at the start, let's go through. Sorry that my voice is a bit croaky and my throat's a bit dry, and if I'm sniffling and stuff, I'm just a bit sick at the moment. But hey, gotta do what you gotta do. Actually, I was so excited to film this, so that's why I'm filming it while I'm sick. Um, but yeah, okay. So what are you selling? Like what kind of jobs do you want? What kind of clients do you want? Those are very important questions to answer because they shape your direction that you want to go, in the future. So for example, when we first moved into that office space on the whiteboard, we wrote out all of our dream clients, right? Um, and on the top of that was like Nike, Adidas, right? We were shooting music videos at the time, and then we wanted to start branching off to, more commercial stuff because that's where the big money's at, right? And the big money was definitely there. And with that vision, it helped us shape whatever the work we were doing at that time. It helped us shape that into what we will, the clients, attracting the clients that we wanted. We were doing like small clothing brands. We are doing, in our music videos, we were like adapting our, some of our shots, cleaning up our music videos a little bit more, making it more aesthetically pleasing to, if, you know, uh, to whatever, Nike would want, right, in their videos, and then slowly over time, we actually quite quickly hit that. It was actually pretty awesome. We I think it was in like the second month of the year, like I quit my job, um, you know, on New Year's and moved straight into the office space. And then, yeah, the second month in of the year, we ended up getting Nike and completely butchered it. We did. And that's a story for another time. But that was a great experience. We learned a lot. And then, of course, um, it's never smooth sailing. But after that, we learned a lot and we adapted. And now we've done multiple shoots for them and multiple shoots for Adidas and Puma, Asics, like, man, so many. But yeah, it's awesome. It's fantastic, right? So it's all a process and it's a lot of building, okay? So what are you going to sell? It's good to have a vision. Make sure you have your vision there and kind of guide you so you can guide you where you're going to go, right? Building your portfolio. This is number one, step one. Very, very important because your portfolio will sell, like do 90% of the selling, right? You don't need to be a good seller. I'm not a good seller, right? I'm actually very below average at selling. But every time I've hopped on a call with people, like a client that's wanting to work together, they've already 90% sold. I'm just there to be like, yep, what are we doing? And let's organize it, and then you organize the team around it, right? So your portfolio is so important. So make sure you build your portfolio, have a lot, like build a lot. I'm going to go through and break down what you're going to post and how you're going to post it. But remember, your portfolio builds trust with the client. If you can prove that you can get the job done, then that's the most important thing, right? If you have overwhelming proof that you can get the job done and that you can bring the client's vision to life, they're going to choose you because at the end of the day, they're choosing amongst, 2, 5, 10 other creatives to bring the idea to life. Why should they choose you, right? So you got to basically give them all and so much stuff that it's deniable, like it's undeniable that you cannot bring their idea to life, right? So how are we going to do it? How are you going to build your portfolio, right? First, you're going to post on social media. So you don't need a website. You don't, like, you can if you want, but you don't need a website. My Instagram, that's all I've used. I've never had a website to promote my work or anything. I only have a website now that sells like digital products. But Instagram's perfect for this. It's perfect for creators because you can shape your, you can market yourself, but at the same time keep your feed clean. Meaning like you can post reels and just hide them in the reels section instead of actually posting it on your main page. And I'll give you an example of that in a sec. But so Instagram, of course you would want to post across everything because there's more of a reach. So like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, and Pinterest, I feel like is a gold mine. I think that's a very, very underslept niche. I haven't seen many people post on that because I believe that, if you think about it, Pinterest is it's where people get their ideas, right? So if you can, if you're posting on Pinterest and they're literally using your ideas or they come across your work, they're literally going to choose you before they even go looking for other people, right? So I feel like that's really good. Some people even use it just as like Facebook. Like people use it as like a social media platform. It's fascinating. But Pinterest is really good. YouTube, fantastic as well. I think YouTube's one of the best sellers out there. If you can really show your face and talk, and people watch you and get to know you and understand how your brain works, very, very important. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's legit free marketing. That's why I suggest it. So when I mostly talk about Instagram because that's that's where I get all my clients, right? That's where a lot of my stuff funnels in from, right? So Instagram, perfect. It's fantastic. It's good. I recommend that. Yeah. So, okay, why are you going to post? Again, that's very important to figure out your why because if you're posting just to get clients, your content's going to look very different compared to if you're going to post to get followers, right? To get followers is usually targeting. So this is a good example here. like I said before, this is a good example of it because I have more followers now and I'm getting nothing really changed, right? Like I said, I gained about 10 clients from that, probably like a few high quality clients, but you know, nothing crazy from it. But I've just consistently been getting work nonstop from just having a small amount of followers. So meaning over this 30 days, which it was part of my plan, my goal was to build my following, just have a bigger following and see what I could do, right? As a creative, right? So that's what I did. And I learned quite a bit, in 30 days, I was able to do that and that. But then, you know, I learned real quick that just because you have more followers doesn't mean you have more sales, right? So it's very important to choose what you're aiming for and to really just go for it. Because this here, like, you know, I've, the comparison's like nothing, right? So that's good. It's very important to figure that out and then create content based around those things. Meaning, if you're creating content for just to get followers, it'd be more, viral trends and trying to get people's attention and quick hooks and all that. If you're trying to get clients, it'd be more slower and intentional and maybe more educational, right? So it's very important to do that. Building your personal brand, that's usually also very important. Like you always want to do that at the same time. Meaning like just your portfolio. You want to build your identity on Instagram or on social media as a whole. Um, what are you posting? Okay, this is a good one because you're posting, of course, your work, or work that you're a part of, and you're just posting it and packaging it differently as well, right? So if you worked on a shot or worked on a project and it has, you know, you worked on multiple shots, post multiple shots, post like behind the scenes of one shot, behind the scenes of another shot, behind the scenes of another shot. If they see those three compared to just the one, then they already see that, you know, to them it looks like three different projects, right? It looks like, okay, you've already done more than you actually have done, right? The other one is just one project compared to three projects, but technically it's just one project, right? So it's good to always just post as much as you possibly can. It's good to spam. I'm going to note this now is like you want to spam, right? You want to post so much stuff. The best thing about Instagram is that you can post and you don't have to worry like about like they've had features where you can post, like it's called trial reels. You can post and it doesn't send it to your followers. You can spam post and it doesn't send it to your followers. It sends it to other people and it doesn't show your followers unless you tell it to show your followers, right? But it's still on your page, right? It just doesn't show it in their feed so that you're not annoying them. But at the end of the day, I think it's very important to annoy them because you got to understand that you're, you're we're all forgettable, right? There's so much content flowing. There's so much stuff happening where people can just forget about you, right? So you want to keep popping up so people remember your face, remember your voice, remember your work, right? Because the more you pop up, the more you remind people, the better at the end of the day, because they're going to remember you and they're going to connect more with you, right? So, a very important thing. If you don't have work, right, create your own. That's so good. So, if you don't have work, create your own, or you could do stuff for free, because at the end of the day, you have more control over these things, right? So, if you're creating your own projects, you have complete creative control. That is so important because you can really hone in and focus on your strong point, right? And really push that forward. A lot of time, if you're doing client work, you're usually doing client work, right? So that you got to bring their vision to life. When you got your own work, you can really just put like really show off what you want to show off and your strong point. That's if you go to my page, which we'll get to that in probably another video, but you'll see that a lot of my work is 50% of it is probably paid work, right? A lot of it is just like me just bored one day or just wanting to pump out some stuff, right? And then just have an idea and I create it and then that's it. So if you're a camera guy or a photographer, do the exact same thing, right? If you're anyone actually, if you want to show off your work, just create your own. If you do like you know, say car detailing or something like that. Because there's along the, I feel like this strategy can work for a lot of people, you know, especially in like the just the general freelance space. If you are, you know, you can't really create your own project, but you can clean your friends' cars. You can, there's tons of cars. Go knock on doors and clean cars for free. That's actually pretty like pretty solid. I think doing stuff for free, that's all I did at the start of my career. Holy moly. Like I did so much free stuff. And it came to a point where like I had to find that switch between, okay, I need to start charging and free stuff. Like, but because of all that free stuff, I could start charging, like, you know, obviously good money because I looked like I was in high demand because I was always pumping out work, right? So it's always good to create your own work and do work for free. Don't worry about what, like, you know, don't, yeah, free work is fantastic. Don't listen to everyone else. They're trying to always make money. We're trying to build relationships here. We're trying to get clients. We're trying to, you got to start somewhere, right? So starting somewhere is, you know, as long as you start, because if you're waiting for clients and you have nothing to prove, you're not going to ever start, right? So just do stuff for free because who wouldn't want something for free, right? That's huge, okay? So who wouldn't want anything for free? Just give someone a call, knock on some doors, and be like, "Hey, do you want a video for this?" Or "Hey, you want a free video for this?" Or "Hey, you want free service of this?" Right? So very important. Same again down here. Try different formats. You know, teach your work. Try different trends. Show your face. Very very important. You know, meaning like just try different formats. You know, teach what you do. Explain. Do voiceovers of what you're doing and explain it and um help, you know, get people to understand what your job is about, right? Like you want to interact and show people and show people that you know what you're talking about, especially when you teach stuff. That's so like it actually helps so much because you're teaching it. So it gives the perspective that you understand what you're doing and you're really good at it to the point where you're teaching other people, right? So that's really good, of course. And you know, do market research. That's similar to trends, right? Doing trends, like search your niches and see what other people are doing and then integrate it into your stuff, right? If someone's, you know, starts their videos with them doing their job, doing a voiceover, and in the voiceover they say something, you know, that's very capturing. Include that into your thing and try to integrate it into yours, right? At the end of the day, you don't want to copy, you don't want to steal other people's work, you want to study their work, right? You don't want to you don't want to steal people's work because that's, you know, you're not going to learn from it too much, but you really, really want to adapt your work, the way you do things into, you know, combining stuff, right? Adapting and evolving, right? So I was on that topic quite a bit, but I think it's very, very important, right? Those things, you just got to understand it's very, very important. You know, do stuff for free, create your own projects, and try. You got to keep trialing, right? There's so much testing and stuff. And like at the start, I said it took me 12 months to do all this stuff, right? It took me a little bit longer because I was doing stuff for free, but it took me 12 months. I wish I could say I was consistent, but I think that's probably why it took me 12 months because I wasn't consistent, right? Like, but I eventually got there, right? Yeah, I kept going. And then once I hit it, you know, it just flowed, right? It just kept going. So that is so important, okay? And then, you know, best thing you can do is show your face and talk because when you're showing your face and talking, oh, bro, like we're humans, all right? At the end of the day, when people can see your face, see you clearly, connect with you, and hear your voice and understand, you know, your work and even how passionate you are about your work or how you do things and the special way you do things and blah blah blah. Like we connect, you know, you connect with them and like you build this trust with them, and it's actually very very like very important. And it's actually I think not everyone does this and not everyone wants to do this. If you could do that, you're beating like so much more of the competition, right? Because if they're, you know, like I said before, if the client's comparing you with five other people, and they're not showing their faces or talking, they're already built more trust and like more trust and they're already more comfortable with you, right? So once they hop on a video call with you, they basically already know you. If you think about it, right? So that's very, very important. I really push that. Okay. So when you're gonna post at least once a day on short form, right? That's at least, right? It doesn't need to be anything perfect. Get rid of the perfection mindset. You got to get rid of it. You got to test things. Nothing's going to be perfect until you start doing it. You know, perfection comes with volume, and you got to keep going, and then you'll finally see that the quality starts coming because you figure out what works. You get actual feedback back, right? So at least once a day post, okay, on short form, meaning TikToks, Reels, right, whatever. And the good thing about short form is like you can post a reel. You create one reel, you post that on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. What else is there? Even LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn has a TikTok thing now. Everything, that's really good. And then long form, you don't have to do long form. If you don't want to, I think long form's very, very strong. If you post one long form a week at least, meaning YouTube, things where people can get to know you even more. Like if someone comes to your page and they're watching your stuff on short form, oh yeah, it's all right. When they come to your YouTube, they get more of you, and it's more detailed, and it's more interactive, right? Because it's like they're longer, they're intentionally watching, right? They're not just watching whatever you're throwing in front of them. They're intentionally watching your video because they clicked on it, right? So it's very important to short form. But if you can't do that, at least once a day on short form, right? Short form, you got to understand there's people out there posting 5, 10, 20 times a day, right? And the more you post, the more the greater chance that you are going to be successful at what you do, right? Um, every single post is a lottery ticket. Remember that. That's so important. Every single post you do is a lottery ticket because there's a chance for it to go viral, and then people click on it and they come to your page. And, it just snowballs, right? So just keep it consistent, and eventually something will pop off, and then you continuously spam the exact same thing in different formats, pretty much, or just the exact same thing with different projects or different, keep going, right? One very, very important thing, very, very important thing. This changed my whole perspective. Okay. No, this is so important. Know this, right? If you're scared to post, just know right now in this very moment, is the least amount of followers you ever will have, right? Think about that. The least amount of followers you ever will have. Because if you start posting, your followers are just going to go up. Like, it's a no-brainer, right? So post now, get it wrong now so that you don't get it wrong later down the line, right? You're not going to have it later down the line if you're not posting, right? So just post now, and it unfolds, right? We're humans. We give feedback. You have a comment section that people tell you what they want, and you can see it by the views as well, what people want and what people don't want, right? So that's just understand that, okay? So important. Now, of course, I'm back to this dream client stuff. What's your target audience? What's your dream client, right? So, I've pretty much already gone through that. What is your target audience? Of course, who's the person you want to target, and you want to target that person. And then what's your goal? At the end of the day, it's to get consistent work enough to eventually quit your job or whatever, right? When you have your goal, I want you to stick it up on the wall, or I want you to have it where you can see it every single day, and then it just makes it so much easier, especially if you're in a bit of a rough moment, like where you don't have a lot of people around you to keep reminding you, where it's just you and yourself. You want to have a poster, print it out on the wall where you can see it every day and just know the goal, because it helps so much with the motivation of it, okay? Because especially it's hard when you're like at home, you know, um, you don't really have much motivation because you're not in the right groups and whatever, right? But you don't really have much going for you. Okay, I can definitely relate with that. Okay, so just make sure that's important. Okay, make sure you have your vision and your goal. Very, very important. This is really good as well for when you start to build a team of people. That's because once you start getting a lot of work, you can start outsourcing it, and like you start building a team, and then you get the team to follow the exact same vision, and that's how you flourish. That's how we flourish, because we all were just dedicated to this one vision, to being the best in the country, right? And then, of course, eventually the world. But I digress. Cool. Love that. So next one. Okay, how are we going to do outreach? Okay, so I want to let you know that I haven't had to do this outreach for years. Doing this first, and then doing this and this at the same time, because you're in your journey phase. Like when you're starting, you need to build your portfolio and you need to do outreach. Build a connection with people. Like once this is built, which just comes along once you start doing both of these things. Once this is built, it sustains you for a while. Like seriously, like people just naturally keep coming. If you keep it consistent and keep it going and just keep building your portfolio, like it just work just flows. And that's what I've found is like I haven't even had to keep it consistent with online, like on like posting, because I'll have one job and then another job comes in and another job, and I'll just be so busy where I don't have time to focus on content. You know, that's why my content's very sparse, because it'll be like post consistently for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then flood of work, right? And then I'm like, oh, okay, I can't keep going, posting every single day, right? So that's exactly, these two together is like exactly, it's perfect, and it's exactly what I did too. Okay, so um, okay, actually, I'm gonna quickly say this too. So I have this here just to kind of give you an example of like how you should lay out your Instagram, okay, or whatever you're on, because you should have a direct of like a direct you should have it clear, exactly, so clear that what you do and what you have, so clear. Okay, so I have just this title here. The title, it's not really needed because I could just put it here, which is, this is what I am. And then of course I'm showing off the company, the production company that I'm running. And then we have, you know, just a little quote, or like something that believes, something that gets people to know about you, right? Like when they come to your page, they see what you do, they get to know what you do, and then you have a call to action. Say if you put commissions open, let's work. DM me this and let's work, right? You need to have a call to action, because if people don't know, they don't know, right? You need to remind them, you need to show them, you need to get them going, right? So have a call to action here. If you want commission work, be like, DM me work and let's work together, kind of thing, and that's how that flows, right? So make sure it's clear what you are. It's good to also show your face, and good to do this yellow background stuff, or you can do whatever color you want, but doing these bright colors, nothing mundane and plain, so that when you're talking in your comment section, it's easy to see who you are and how you're talking. Like you stand out, right? The colors stand out, and it looks so much more professional. Okay, so this is really good. Okay, so I'll go back to this. So mastering outreach. Okay, this video is getting long, and I'll try not to go too much longer, but we'll rush through this. Okay, so start with market research. Okay, so otherwise, who are gonna know your clients, right? Where do you fit in the market, and what do you want to do? Like, how are you gonna stand out, right? This is really good. Actually, this is something that I recently got really good at and learned, and actually, it's really, really good. And that's why I added it here. Is like, get good at voice messages. This helps build trust with whoever you're texting, right? So when you're texting someone, they don't know your tone of voice. They don't know really who you are exactly, or like the type of person you are and whatever. You can type and stuff, but there's no emotion behind it. So voice messages is like one good way to stand out, to sell someone, right? Someone messages you, but hey, let's do this and this, and then you send back a voice memo being like, hey, let's work, let's jump on a call in 10 minutes, blah, 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 whatever, this, and then, it just helps when you hear someone's voice and you're like, oh, that's actually like, I don't know. I don't know if you've experienced it, but I've experienced it. Someone said it to me and I was like, oh, that's actually really good, because I now trust you a lot more because I've heard your voice and you spoke to me, right? So very, very good. Okay, sweet. So what are we going to do, right? What's the game plan? Okay, you're going to open Instagram. I'm going to use Instagram as an example because I do believe Instagram is very, very powerful. But you can probably do it on anything. You could probably do it actually on everything, right? Try different, see what people are doing on different platforms. That'd be very good. But okay, you want to search your niche. So whatever you're in. Say if you're in videos, or if you do editing, you search editing or videos, or viral videos or whatever, right? In the niche you're in, for example, mine's like 3D. I do a lot of visual effects 3D, so it's like 3D, edit, render, VFX, right? And the stuff at the top is most likely, it's stuff that works already. It's already people who are probably doing very, very well. You want to go through, find the people, of course, the people you like their work. Obviously, you don't need to like their work, but just find a lot of people, follow them, and then you want to go to their messages and like send them messages, right? So you want to follow them, go through, like some of their stuff, Like, be a genuine person at the end of the day. Like, this is not just a, oh, you want to do this, this, this. You want to be a genuine, like, a good person. Um, but message them and create a conversation, right? So just be like, because you want to let them know you exist. At the end of the day, like I said before, people need to be reminded a lot more than just told, right? People remember. People don't remember facts. They remember through being reminded, right? You can't just tell them once. You need to keep telling them, right? There's a statistic out there. I don't know where I heard this a long time ago. I think I read it in a book where it says people aren't going to remember or know how important something is the first time you say it. So you as a CEO, you need to remind people at least 7 times until they realize how important it is to you, right? So if they need to get something done, you need to follow up with them 7 times. So that's why people say that, CEOs are just reminders, or like, they're just the follow up guy. In which at the end of the day they are, because they've got to make sure the company's running and messaging people, right? So I digress again. But you just gotta let them know you exist. Like the things, comment on their work. You want to be like their biggest fan. Well, not a psycho fan, but like you want to be their biggest fan. And then send them a message and be like, hey, just came across your work. Absolutely love what you're doing. Keep it up. Super inspiring, right? Something like that. Just being like, creating conversation. If they don't reply back, or if they reply back, you just ask them some questions. Just get to know them, because they're in the field that you want to grow in, anyways, right? They're in the field that you want to grow in. So you want to, like, just ask questions. Be like, oh, hey, like, just genuine questions. Be like, hey, how do you get your clients, or how do you do this, or I love how you edit this thing. Like, do you have any advice for this? People at the end of the day just want to help people, right? I think generally by having a good heart, people just would love to help out, especially if someone's asking them questions, because it makes them feel important, right? So ask them questions, get to know them, start conversation, and every now and then, or like maybe just at the end of the conversation, or whenever it feels right, just send them a message that goes, hey, happy to lend a hand whenever you need anything. Feel free to reach out anytime. You can even ask for feedback on your own work, right? But you want to let them know that if they need help in a project, like, you are, like, you're there and you're available, right? Because at the end of the day, these, if they're really good, they're most likely getting a lot of work, right? So if they ever need a hand, they're most likely going to come to you. Like, who else out there is like just being like, hey, I need it. If you never need a hand on this, just come reach out, right? And just you got to follow up with them. Message them every second week or something like that, right? And you want to do this with a lot of people. I'm not just saying like 1 or 2 people. You want to do this with like 10, 10, 20 people. Like, I would say a day, but it is a lot. But I mean, at the end of the day, there shouldn't be any excuse for it, right? So the more people message you, the more people you message a day, the better, right? So if you can message 10 people a day, the more you're going to, of course, have an impact on. You got to find the right person, I should say, right? So that's very, very important, because, yeah, like, you have access to the world. You got to remember that you have access to literally hundreds of millions of people, billions of people, right, at your fingertips on social media. So someone would definitely like your help. Someone out there would love. They'd probably follow you back because you probably have really good work, right? So that's very, very important. Create conversation, blah, blah, blah. And then, okay, the reason why I say to do this, and you might be like, what's the point of just messaging people and just letting them know that you're there? There's no point. The way that I get all my big clients is from people, like, from people who know people, right? Everyone out there, there's so many people who are way better than me, right? What? But then how can I get the job from them? Does that make sense? Sorry, I said that completely. I butchered that. So, okay, the only way you're going to get big jobs is if you know someone within the circle of that, right? The biggest jobs we've gotten is because someone within Nike or whatever, or had contacts to Nike, were like, hey, yeah, actually, these guys are really good. You should go to these guys. Same for my 3D stuff. Like, I keep getting stuff from LA, or some pretty crazy projects from LA, where I'm like, it's a friend who calls me up, be like, hey, are you available for this, this, this? And I'm like, oh, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. Like, because people know people, and you got to understand, like, you never know who you're messaging, right? And you never know who knows who. So at the end of the day, you might come across the right person who's like, oh yeah, actually, you know what? I have someone who can help me out. Or I can't do this project at the moment, hit up this person, and they send you out and whatever, right? So that's the biggest thing, okay? That's the biggest thing when it comes to big clients is it's all from people who know people, right? So make sure you got to build your community around you, build like a strong network of people, and you're going to kill it, right? You're going to actually kill it. So that's very, very important. Now let's talk about actually how to kind of, if you want to start sourcing clients, okay? So this is a different, kind of like a different step. So after you've done that, you want to go to Instagram now and open up and search, of course, again, search on the search bar, businesses that you want to work with. Small businesses, actually, no, send, okay, I was going to say small businesses, but no, send even the bigger businesses, like, messages, right? The ones that you'd be like, they won't message back. You'll be surprised. Actually, you know what? You actually be surprised. Sorry, it clicked in my head. Like, there's been so many times that I've messaged people and like messaged like big companies that I was like, I'd never get to work with these guys. And then they message back and they're like, hey, let's work. And you're like, oh, what the heck? And like, it's literally free to send a message. There was nothing stopping me from not sending a message, right? So send a message to literally everyone you want to work with, all these businesses, and you want to create them like a little pitch, okay? Like of your work and who you are. Like, so because your portfolio is going to most likely sell, if you don't really have much of a portfolio at this point, like you should, of course, I mean, do some free stuff, like build your portfolio, but your portfolio will most likely sell you in these situations. That's what I've found. But you want to build you want to message these people, just be like, hey, came across your work, really loved your topic of blah blah blah. Be very specific, or something like you noticed on like their content. Like scroll through their page and be like, oh, I loved when you talked about this thing, or you said this thing, and I actually agree with you on this blah blah. It just shows that you notice like this little thing, and it gets them. If you notice this little thing that no one else noticed, they're gonna love that. So just be very specific and just be like, hey, I loved your video on this, and then when you said this thing, it was actually like really cool, blah blah blah. And then just be like, I do this, and then I do whatever your profession is, for similar businesses or creators like yours, and I had an idea that could like help you achieve blah blah blah, and you know, a problem to solve, or like a pain point, like to solve like a problem that might have, or like thing that you, whatever it is, okay? So, and then you'd be like, would you be down for a quick 10-minute call today, tomorrow, blah, blah, and I could walk you through it, question mark. And this is the reason why I say that is because I found when you come to the person being like, hey, I I have some free value for you. Like, let's hop on a call. Like, I have this really cool like idea that I could benefit your business. And you put together like a little pitch. Like, just go on Canva, create a little presentation, being like, put some heaps of photos, heaps of, um, you know, heaps of like just photos, images, gifs, and stuff, and just walk them through. Like, you want to share your screen and be like, hey, like, I had this idea that if you did this, do you need a video? If you had a video like this, I found that it worked for some other class. I was wondering if you wanted to do this. Well, all right. So like, you want the idea to be so good that they're like, oh, yeah, let's do it. If you were just completely like, you're not doing videos or anything, you just kind of giving advice, give free advice. Like, if you can give out some free advice and some free tips, they're gonna love you. Like, people will love you because you'll be like, oh, actually, you know what? Like, they're either gonna have two reactions. They're gonna be like, what the hell are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. Blah blah blah. Like, stop telling me how to do my stuff. Or they're gonna be like, oh, actually, that's a very interesting point. Like, actually, I didn't know that about social media. Or I didn't know that I should be marketing this way. Or I didn't know I needed a video like that. Because you want to talk about how you can benefit people, right? Because people want to. At the end of the day, if you help people make money, you're going to make a lot more money, right? So that's very important. So I recommend just sending messages like that, right? This is, like I said before, you want to message at least, I say here, 20 to 50, right? Which is not that much. If you think about how many people on the platform and how many people in your specific niche, that's not that much, right? So yeah, I say here, before you hop on a call, put together like a little presentation, right? So presentation, sharing your idea, and making it so simple and easy and visual that you don't even. Sorry, I'm searching it up right now. Um, I'll show you an example. This is not like a um, this is not a pitch deck. This was like, I mean, it was a pitch deck. Okay, so like this is for like a little animation that someone was like, hey, I would like a little animation for this, right? And I was like, okay, cool. Like, what's your idea? And they're like, oh, I want something to do with, the album cover. And I was like, okay, cool, done. And I just instantly, without them realizing, I was just like, I went straight through like, I thought of an idea, like how can I create like a really good loop and blah blah blah, all this stuff. And this is what this is what I sent them, and like they absolutely freaked. They're like, oh, absolutely, done, let's do it. And so no matter what price I said after that, they would have said yes because you can see that I was serious about my work, right? So here's the second slide. Video breakdown. I just give it a little bit of a little breakdown here, just like a quick run, like a run through, and like the premise, and then I have a synopsis, and then I have all these like these GIFs here showing like, kind of the animation movement and all that, helping them clearly get the idea. And then I have a look and feel, like this is what I want to look like, this is what I want to feel like, and then that's it, right? It's just ends. It's very short, but it gets the point across so that they know what exactly they're gonna get, and like they know that I'm serious about it, because who else would put something like this together and you know like yeah. So definitely do stuff like that. Your portfolio sells you at that point, right? So the goal is that your portfolio will sell you at that point. That's what I've learned, is like a lot of the time when you message people, like cold message people, they open up your page and they're like, oh, this person knows what they're talking about, and they already know who you are by the time they open up your page, right? So that's very important. And then the last point, this is like a very short one. This video's been going for a while now, but consistency. Of course, consistency is key. It took me like 12 months of outreach, but that's and outreach and building, right? But that's wasn't really consistent, right? Like it was on and off because, of course, I was young and I was distracted and doing things, playing video games and all that stuff, which, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not bad, but get very distracted, right? It's not an overnight thing. Remember that, but it can be. That's the best part about starting a business these days. Is like, it's not you can't think of it as an overnight thing, but it has the potential of being an overnight thing, right? It has the potential of like blowing up overnight. All you need is one reel to blow up, or the right reel to blow up, and you found what works, and you just post it consistently, and then you got work coming in, right? So it's very, very simple. There's a saying where it's like it happens it happens no, sorry, it takes longer than you expect, but it happens quicker than you imagine. And that it's such a true statement, because it takes longer than you expect, because you're like, oh, this is gonna work, and it doesn't work, or it doesn't work. You keep going and you keep failing, and then once it happens, you got that one little thing. It just happens so quickly. I feel like you could talk to a lot of businessmen about that, and they'll probably agree with you on that one. And then of course you're only going to see results if you do it over and over again. Give it 6-8 months, and you're going to absolutely, like, trust me, you're not going to regret it. Like I said before, right now is the least amount of followers you have. Right now is the perfect time to start building. When was the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? Right now. So start now, and you will not regret it. Like, it's building your portfolio is something you can do on the side of, like, if you got a job or something, right? At the end of the day, everyone's story is different, and we all dealt different cards. So some people are a little bit more blessed than other people, and they don't have kids and whatever. But if you do, like, you're a champion, you for real. And just keep working at it, and you will, like, it'll work for you. Like, seriously, like, just keep going. Make sure your vision's strong in your head, and make sure you can see it every single day. And you will, nah, it'll work out, because I know for a fact that it worked out for me, right? So thank you guys for watching. Sorry that took so long. I really enjoyed doing this video. I really enjoyed talking about this stuff, because it's actually very it excites me. I want to see people grow from this. So let me know if you have anything that you want to see, or anything you want to hear, and yeah, I'll try to keep these as consistent as possible. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you got something from that.